let's get into the final discussion. The Ravens schedule was released. The NFL season schedule was released. And so let's give kind of our biggest takeaways from the schedule. We don't have to go through game by game because, that's very difficult. But is there anything like stands out to you on the schedule that you were surprised by or delighted by? What's the biggest thing that comes to mind when you look at the Ravens schedule?
I mean, we talked about this. This year alone is supposed to be a year of building back the confidence of working together. If we drafted enough developmental players, it's their time to get their reps in and get that feel of what it means to be in the NFL and just ball out. I mean, honestly, I'm not going to say, oh, the New York Jets is going to be an automatic win. Yeah, Zach Wilson, Elijah Moore, it was a Garrett Wilson or Olave that they.
I think they got Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, that's a big time. That's a big time player. I know everybody like, oh, well, Zach Wilson. Well, listen, when Zach Wilson, I believe he was at BYU. When he had the weapons, don't get it twisted. Zach let it off. So I mean, with Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, I mean, anything is possible. And the Ravens is week one, so you don't know which Baltimore Ravens you want to get week one. So, but week five, we play against Bengals under the lights. I'm looking forward to seeing hopefully everybody coming back from injury and active. Like Ronnie Stanley, J.K., Gus. Marcus Peters. I expect us to be at a full strength. The only person that we will be missing is David Jabo. But honestly, my player that's gonna take off is Mr. Dalen Hayes. Watch out for that. I'm saying it now, y'all, and y'all can mark me for it. I'm looking forward to seeing these young guys get out there and really flourish. So I would say that week 5 under the lights, that revenge match against the Bengals. I want to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I think that week 3 to 5 stretch is going to be the most difficult for the Ravens this season. Barring any sort of injuries or things like that. I think at New England, that's always going to be a tough game, even though Mac Jones isn't Tom Brady. However, it's Bill Belichick, who's always a tough guy to go up against, and he's already played against Lamar Jackson once. Actually, he's played against him twice, but that second game was a wild rain game. Very difficult for anyone to move the ball in that game, and also bad snaps again in that game. But that game, and then going off and playing Buffalo. Luckily, that game against Buffalo is in Baltimore, which does help. But Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, one of the best. 2 of the top 3 young quarterbacks, I'll say. I say that confidently. I say the second and third best young quarterbacks confidently behind Mr. Patrick Mahomes. But like that's going to be a great game. Both have good defenses. Both have good weapons. Like that's an exciting one. But then you finish it off against Cincinnati in primetime. And luckily you get to play Buffalo and Cincinnati at home. That's going to help. But I think those are just 3 consecutive potential playoff teams that the Ravens are going to have to go against, and all with good pass rush. Yeah. Matthew Judon, and then Buffalo last year, they actually had a good pass rush. It's really a committee in Buffalo. Gregory Rousseau, Boogie Basham. Von Miller. And then Cincinnati, they have, all the guys they had last year. Trey Hendrickson, obviously leading the charge for them. So good pass rushes, good quarterbacks. Okay, I'll say 2 really good quarterbacks, 1 okay quarterback, Mac Jones, but maybe he could be improved significantly. He wasn't bad last year by any means, so could have a solid quarterback there. That's kind of the biggest, difficult stretch. But then the other difficult stretch I see is 13 through 15, playing Denver at home. Now that they have Russell Wilson, that's a much more difficult opponent. Yeah. Then Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh, I think so many people undervalue Mitch Trubisky. I think he's highly underrated in the NFL. And obviously that Pittsburgh defense is going to be really tough. And so I think that's always a difficult game. And then finally, at Cleveland is going to be another tough game just because it's a divisional opponent. And if Deshaun Watson gets suspended, there's a chance he's back by that point. So this could be a Deshaun Watson-led Cleveland Browns, which is much scarier than an already difficult to beat Baker Mayfield Cleveland Browns, just because they have so many playmakers. They have Nick Chubb, they have Kareem Hunt, they have Myles Garrett, good cornerbacks. if you add in Deshaun Watson, who I think is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, that makes it a really tough game. So those are kind of the big stretches that I'm seeing is like, if they play well in those stretches, they're going to perform really well this season. If they can't get it done there, that could be too difficult to overcome if they can't get big wins in those games.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, let's talk the strength of this draft. And even heck, we could even take it a step further. Even adding Mike Davis, a sign that I wasn't even, particularly in the liking for. They're trying to go back to being that 2019 type of offensive style. And my thing is, you can be that type. You can go back to that offensive scheme, but in order to do that, everybody has to be in sync. You have to have that offensive line, intact. It can't be, oh, we got this guy playing this position this week, that guy playing that position that week. Everything has to be like a locomotive, moving and trucking. And we had to do what we've been doing, is taking time off the clock. I mean, we've shown that, when we take 5 minutes or more off the clock in our offensive possessions and actually make points, we can win the game. And also that gives our defense rest to get out there, and make a stop. And then our defense is a little bit more younger. And shout out to the defensive coordinator being almost as young as the players. So it's going to be a lot of fire. It's going to be a lot of fire on that sideline. But no, I definitely feel like everybody counting us out. I'm glad we don't have a lot of primetime games. I'm glad we're actually going back to a schedule where the Ravens it's enjoyable to watch, but at the same time, they're not going to be talked about as much. The only reason we're still being talked about as much is because we have, I think you said it before, we have one of the best players in the NFL, which is Lamar Jackson on the team. So when you got a generational talent, whether you're a mid team or a bottom tier team, you're going to be talked about.
Yeah.
So the Ravens, all they got to do, they just got to go out there Sunday, Monday, Thursday, even Saturday if it comes down to it. Just go out there and play, and don't worry about it. They need to just block out all the noise, go out there and play. Ravens flock, whatever everybody's tweeting or posting on Facebook or even on the gram or whatever TikTok. If they're not part of the Ravens community, heck, you gotta watch out for some of the ones that are part of the Ravens community because they just started being bandwagon fans in 2018. Just be mindful. If you've been on this ride for 26, 27 years, y'all should know the Baltimore Ravens by now. We're not going to win in the most flashiest ways. It's going to be tough. It's going to be some dog fights. You might see us splurge once or twice with the big games, big points. But I feel like this season should get us back into Ravens winning play. We should be back into that winning form of we're just getting the job done. We ain't doing no more talking. We just let the play. We put the pads on and we coming to go to work.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a really favorable schedule, very different from last season. Last season, there was a stretch of games where it was like, okay, this is like 7 straight weeks against potential playoff teams, potential Super Bowl contenders, and it was very difficult. This schedule, obviously, there's difficult games. It's the NFL, you can't take anything for granted, but there doesn't seem to be any like horrible 6-7 week just grind out difficult. There seems to be like very winnable games. In between the difficult opponents. And I think the bye week in week 10, I like having a bye week right in the middle of the season. I don't like an early or late one. If the Ravens are struggling, let them regroup and allow them to then come out of it against Carolina and Jacksonville and hopefully get everything situated. Maybe Greg Roman's gone by then, but we'll see. We'll see.
Do we start the rant by preseason?
Maybe. We'll see. When that man has his first press conference, then there will probably be a rant.
I don't think he has a press conference this whole season. I'm stamping that.
That would be smart for them.
Very smart.
Keep him away from the press. Joshua, do you have anything else to add onto based on the schedule, or?
I mean, we got a couple to be determined games. Week 15 and week 18. Now, really, honestly, I feel like that's going to go off just by the strength of how we're doing the season.
Mm-hmm.
I even think week 4, even though it's a 1:00 game, it might be switched around. Maybe we'd be a double hitter on Monday night or on Sunday night. You never know. You just gotta see. You just gotta see what Ravens come up this season. I know we. Oh, Miami's a to be determined game as well.
No, Miami's at 1.
Oh, okay. Ravens website need to change that then. But I mean, other than that, nah, man, I'm just ready for us, to get out there, see these young guys, just flourish. I'm ready to see some Ravens football.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of excitement. Cannot wait for preseason. Cannot wait for training camp. Cannot wait for OTAs. We're ready. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content. We're going to be live on Wednesday night. I believe this final segment is coming out on Tuesday. So, we will be live tomorrow night talking about all things Ravens football. Hopefully, some exciting announcements. And thank you, everybody. We'll see all of you again tomorrow.